Hey, I'm Jamie. I'm a musician and I use my music to help me express myself as I've got a family member with a mental illness. I'm interested in speaking to other musicians because I want to see how they create their music and how it helps them and their mental health, and if they use it to cope or just plainly express what they're thinking or how they're feeling.
What I think music has done for me is it's the distraction. You understand as a musician yourself and as an artist, you know. When you're there and when you're doing it, there's nothing else, you know. And there doesn't need to be anything else, and that's the blessing, I think.
Since you're an Aboriginal boy growing up in a city, like Melbourne, I was wondering how music would have helped you through that.
We've always had a very strong identity as Aboriginal people. It was weird, in winter, never really seemed to notice much, but then in summer when I'd get a bit darker, you know what I mean, like a lot of us do in summer, you know, particularly light-skinned mob. You know, I couldn't walk into a shop without being looked at like I was going to steal something, you know. I would walk in with my father, who's Irish, and nothing, and then I'd walk in with my mother and it'd be the same thing, you know, because she's black. It'd be like, oh, what's this kid doing? Or, I grew up in the inner city of Melbourne where there were a lot of really great, cool rock and roll bands around, you know. And as a kid, I just used to see them and think, when you grow up, that's what you do. You do your hair and you wear tight jeans and you play guitar and make faces and, you know what I mean? You have a lot of fun. And
how do you, like, come into contact with mental health?
It's been in my family. It's been managed, you know. I've always seen it as managed. There's someone very close to me with bipolar, and my whole life has been on lithium, which is the heavy stuff, I've been told, you know. I had another person very, very close to me, someone in my family very close, who had a schizophrenic episode which lasted a bit over a week, where he was scared and alone. And there are some people that respond very, very well to treatment, and there's some people that don't respond that well, but this person did instantly, you know, as soon as he was being looked after and as soon as we knew what was going on and we could do something about it.
You played a song yesterday about hitting people, especially like women. How's that song come together for you?
I've always been against violence against women, and I've always been against violence as well. My mother was talking about, you know, in a lot of communities, there's this thing about if your man doesn't hit you, he doesn't love you. That's just not true. And the thing is about a lot of men that hit women, right? They've grown up seeing their mothers being bashed, and they've been bashed themselves. And a lot of people that don't hit women, or men, or anyone, they haven't grown up seeing that, and they've grown up being told that that's wrong. So it's not just a given with Aboriginal people or Aboriginal communities, it's actually something that can be changed, because we're sitting here talking about it, you know.
Coming from Africa to Australia,
yeah.
All of a sudden there's a big culture change.
Just not having a big family around and things like that was kind of hard, but I always had other things to keep me busy. Even in my teenage years and things like that, when all my friends were, you know, being in trouble with the police and things like that, I always had that mind state where, nah, like, I'd rather do this. Like, it would be music, or nah, I'd rather do this, whether it would be grabbing a soccer ball and going to the park. I always kept myself occupied, so it wasn't too bad.
What point did you realise that rap was kind of your way of going?
Music, I've always done music. That's how I used to relate to my older brother. And he was a big role model for me, so to impress him, I was like, yeah, man, listen to this. Slowly got into it. But at the same time, like, most of the time I try to stay away from telling people like I'm a rapper or this or that. Because first thing they realize, like, oh yeah, you're a rapper, so you probably sing about degrading women or you talk about guns. It's beyond that. Like, hip-hop is like self-expression to its fullest. Like, you're using words to kind of like paint pictures and things like that. That's what got me attracted to it.
Do you believe children or parents mentally ill could have like instruments and like outlets like given to them so they can express themselves?
You know, my mum had 3 kids. She was single. She wasn't diagnosed with bipolar disorder until much later. So while she was suffering from it, she wasn't really aware that there was a name for it. And yeah, I was provided with lessons and things like that from people. I'm not to say that, you know, there are people that probably aren't in that position, you know, where the parents really can't afford it. But that's where you can make music from anything, you know. Like I play a suitcase kick drum and a pretty basic drum kit where I put it together with junk and bits and pieces. So I think there's always a means. Your dad suffers
schizophrenia.
Yeah. Is he creative? He's
He's very intelligent.
Yeah.
He's more of a hands-on type. But I guess because he's so intelligent, I kind of went the other way about it and became creative.
Sure.
And because of my creativity, that's kind of helped me, so my emotions and feelings kind of come out through my music. And
for me, I find it quite difficult to be 100% honest, you know, when you're writing lyrics, because people do listen, and I find that sometimes you don't always want to let people know about everything that's going on, you know, whereas, like you say, it's your way of releasing your emotions. Do you find it easy to talk about your emotions through song?
People take things differently from different perspectives. So if you kind of play it out in a more theoretical, or like just to kind of
hide it with analogies.
Depends how blatant it is, I guess.
Yeah, if you're going to be loud and proud, then I guess that's all good for you.
Is your dad supportive of your pursuit of the arts?
He's never been supportive.
Does he like your music though?
He always compliments me on it.
Yeah.
So he's not a bad person about it. I wouldn't say he's my most supportive role, but he's really kind of there for me. It's been amazing to meet and talk to such a diverse range of artists. After hearing their experiences and views, I appreciate music so much more. I'm definitely inspired to continue writing and performing my own songs as a way to express myself. I hope others are able to benefit from music in the same way that I do.
If you don't know anyone who has those problems, or if you're the kind of person who thinks that that's a personal weakness, then you really need to address those attitudes, because you're wrong, and a lot of those things are really uncontrollable. It's not easy for that person to control. Unless you actually do have someone in your life that's dealing with that, you're not going to understand what it's like, no matter how many television ads you see about it. But I think it's important that more broadly experienced conditions like depression and stuff are talked about openly.
Lyrically, I hope that the words inspire them to be more aware of what's happening in their community, to care more about social justice, to think politically, to think about what's going on in their city or country, whatever, as big as you want to take it, but most importantly community, because that's where it all begins.
Anything that promotes the sense of community is, I think, a really good thing. And I think with the music scene you can find a lot of friends, and I think that's really important for mental health, feeling like you're a part of something.
A lot of people sort of have feelings of alienation and don't feel like they belong, and when you're jamming with some guys and it all sort of comes together, it's there's a bit of satisfaction in that it is possible to feel some sort of unity, even if walking down the street you kind of don't really feel that so much, and music just seems to be a language that if you connect right, like it can really work.
If you're going stockbroking or music, and you value money and want to own a house by the time you're 30 or whatever, choose the stockbroking. Do that.
Stockbroking was in that hand.
Sorry, well, I chose music accidentally. I guess I'll regret this decision for the rest of my life. But otherwise, do the music if you feel passionate about it, because if you're good at it and you feel passionate about it, probably people would like to hear what you have to say.
Is this perspective a hint to stay, or will it slowly and fade away? 'Cause while sometimes these thoughts they scare